Not fully vaccinated, you have good reason to be concerned. You're at a high risk of getting sick. And if you get sick, you're likely to spread it to others, including friends and family.
Good afternoon, everyone. That was President Biden speaking today on the rising number of COVID cases due to the Omicron variant and the risk to Americans heading into the holidays. Natalie Brandt has details from the White House.
President Biden is encouraging Americans to take necessary precautions as the Omicron variant threatens holiday plans.
We all want this to be over, but we're still in it. And this is a critical moment. We also have more tools than we ever had before.
The president announced he's ordered the military to have medical personnel ready to help hospitals overrun with new cases.
That's 1,000 military doctors, nurses, and medics. We've already started moving medical teams. They've already landed in Wisconsin and Indiana this week.
The government is also expanding its vaccination program to include additional pop-up locations, and it's expanding its testing program by adding federal testing sites and purchasing 500 million at-home rapid tests to send to Americans for free starting in January.
We'll be getting these tests to Americans for free, and we'll have websites where you can get them delivered to your home.
The administration's health experts say testing and wearing masks around strangers are ways to protect yourself, with travel and family gatherings ramping up this week. The experts say loved ones can get together safely if everyone is vaccinated and boosted.
You're going to be reading about breakthrough infections because this virus is extremely good at transmitting from person to person. But vaccination and boosting clearly is the answer to protecting yourself.
Data from the CDC shows that unvaccinated individuals are 8 times more likely to be hospitalized and 14 times more likely to die from COVID-19. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
Officials say the first known death from the Omicron variant in the U.S. claimed the life of an unvaccinated person in Houston, Texas. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz announced today that he and his family have tested positive for COVID-19. He says his son has mild symptoms and he and his wife are asymptomatic. The governor also said they're all vaccinated, and Walz and his wife have received booster shots. Some changes to report in the weather department. Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson is here with the latest. Hutch?
Stacey, thanks so much. Our evening tonight after a round of snow looks very quiet, and in fact many of us have cleared out quite nicely, and as forecast 2 to 4 inches, with a few areas getting a little bit more than that. Grand Forks 3.1 inches, Thompson, by the way, 4.3 inches of snow there, Twin Valley 4.2, and the FM area seeing about 4 inches, with Verndale upwards of 3. Here's a look at the satellite. We do have a couple of clouds showing up in the central Red River Valley, but other than that, it's fairly quiet thanks to clear skies like this out at the Home of Economy location in the Grand Forks area. We're going to cool fairly quickly in areas that did get that fresh, flaky, fluffy snow. Temperatures tonight will fall quickly early to near or just below 0 for many of us, particularly east, as you'll stay clear longer. But the clouds build in, and look at temperatures towards daybreak will be rising. Wednesday brings some changes. We're going to have a hiccup. That's right, some snow for some of us, and an update on our first alert weather day later on the week. If you have holiday travel plans, we'll update you on what you can expect there.
It was fresh, flaky, and fluffy.
Yes.
Indeed. Thanks, Hutch. A few Xcel Energy customers are just getting their power back on after a car hit a power pole earlier today. Police blocked off a few blocks surrounding 16th Street and 2nd Avenue South because of that downed power line. Police say the driver wasn't at the scene when they arrived. No word on if anyone was hurt. A local pawn shop employee has taken a plea agreement after he shot at a robbery suspect earlier this summer. It all happened on June 10th when police say this man, 22-year-old Hunter Havisto, ended his days-long robbery spree at Mr. Money in South Fargo, holding the store up at gunpoint and running off with more than $2,000. 56-year-old Kyle Ramsey followed Havisto out of the store and fired rounds into Havisto's getaway vehicle. He now stands convicted of a misdemeanor count of reckless endangerment. Judge Bailey sentenced Ramsey to spend the next 360 days on unsupervised probation. A jury in Minneapolis is deciding the fate of former police officer Kim Potter. Potter took the stand and delivered an emotional testimony, insisting she didn't intend to hurt anyone. She's on trial for shooting and killing 20-year-old Dante Wright during a traffic stop in April. In closing arguments Monday, the defense said Wright's attempt to flee in his car put a fellow officer in danger.
Dante Wright caused his own death, unfortunately. In the walk of life, Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. And this lady here made a mistake, and my gosh, a mistake is not a crime. It just isn't.
Now, prosecutors disagree, saying Potter violated years of training by drawing and then using the wrong weapon. The jury is in their second day of deliberation now. Potter faces charges of first and second degree manslaughter. If convicted, she faces up to 25 years in prison. Health experts are warning about the risk of catching the flu. In a preliminary study, researchers say one of the main circulating flu viruses has now changed, and the current vaccines aren't as effective. Health experts say vaccination is still vital as flu vaccines protect against 4 different strains of the flu, adding they're still likely to prevent severe illness, hospitalization, and death. The CDC says the flu kills anywhere between 12 and 52,000 people a year and puts as many as 700,000 people in the hospital. Doling out pardons is a holiday tradition for Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who grants them to a handful of ordinary citizens, typically for minor offenses committed years or decades ago. But one name stands out on his desk now, George Floyd. Abbott hasn't said whether he'll pardon Floyd this year for a 2004 drug arrest in Houston. The arrest was made by a former officer whose police work is no longer trusted by prosecutors. Texas's parole board unanimously recommended a pardon for Floyd in October. Today, Governor Doug Burgum appointed Fargo native Brian Crocius to serve as North Dakota's next tax commissioner. Crocius has been a member of the state's Public Service Commission for about 5 years. He'll serve out the final year of current tax commissioner Ryan Rauschenberger's 4-year term. He's resigning effective January 3rd after an alcohol-related incident in Bismarck last month. Agents with an investigative unit of the Department of Homeland Security will wear body cameras for the first time as part of a 6-month pilot program that'll focus on cost and benefits of using the technology in federal law enforcement. The cameras will be used by 55 members of SWAT-like special response teams in Houston, Newark, New Jersey, and New York. The teams focus on transnational federal crimes such as drug and human trafficking and fraud. A senior official said the agency expects to expand the pilot to include officers who conduct immigration enforcement arrests. U.S. population growth dipped to its lowest rate since the nation's founding during the first year of the pandemic. The slowdown is credited to lower immigration due to coronavirus, delayed pregnancies, and COVID deaths. The Census Bureau says the U.S. grew by only 0.1% from July 2020 to July 2021. It's the first time since 1937 that the nation's population grew by less than 1 million people. Between 2020 and 2021, 33 states saw population increases and 17 states lost population. Minnesota nearly maintained its population, while North Dakota saw a decline of almost 7,000 people. Take a look at this. The Nelson County Sheriff's Office jumped into action when they got a report of a grumpy green creature impersonating the big guy during Santa Day at the Michigan North Dakota Mall. A deputy made the arrest with the help of some area kids who were keeping the Grinch in check until the deputy arrived. SpaceX launched Christmas gifts, goodies, and supplies to the International Space Station this morning, and they got a present in return, the company's 100th successful rocket landing. The pre-dawn liftoff from NASA's Kennedy Space Center hoisted a Dragon capsule loaded with more than 6,500 pounds of gear for the station's 7 astronauts. Among the items due to arrive at the space station, Christmas presents from the astronauts' families, as well as smoked fish and turkey, green beans, and fruitcake for a holiday feast. The delivery also includes a laundry detergent experiment. Procter & Gamble is developing a fully degradable detergent for eventual use at the station, on the moon, and beyond. SpaceX is ending the year with 31 launches, the most ever by the company. Drill small holes and measure thickness. That's the suggestion of Minnesota DNR officials. Today is the first official day of winter, and many of you may be planning to get out on the ice to skate or fish, but the weather we've seen so far this season has made the ice inconsistent and more dangerous.
Just remember 4, 6, 8, and 12. 4 inches is good enough for humans, 6 inches is good enough for recreational vehicles, 8 inches are small vehicles and small wheelhouses, and then 12 inches is going to be the large wheelhouses, permanent houses, and the medium-sized pickups.
No ice drowning fatalities have been reported so far this season, but the DNR says, unfortunately, they average about 3 to 4 deaths every winter, which is why it's important for them to get these safety tips out.